There we go. Okay, well, thank you all for coming today. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Nicole Ernst, and I teach in geospatial technology. I've been at Hack since 2005, so I've been here for about a little over 20 years now, which is amazing that I landed someplace for that long. But what I'm going to talk to you today about is how to build a course support chatbot in ChatGPT. And this requires no ability to do any coding. It just requires an ability to answer questions that are posed to you. One caveat I will mention before I begin, because I think this is a very important caveat to mention, that this is based on using ChatGPT Pro, which is a paid account. So this account does cost $20 a month, and I upgraded to this for a number of different reasons. But I have found having the Pro version does allow you to do more. And one of the things is bot building. So to begin, I want to talk about some of the bots that I've created previously, just to give you some cautionary tales of what to do and what not to do. So as I mentioned, I started down this pathway because I wanted to create something that would support my students when I wasn't available, and something that could answer common questions that students have, like, when's this due? Do you accept late work? What's the policy on X? You know, things that sometimes they're even a little embarrassed to email and ask you about, that they could get those answers via the chat bot. They could just read the syllabus sometimes, but that is not as sexy as going to a chat bot and asking the question. So my first foray into this was one that I called Compass. And this is one that I started building last fall for my WebGIS class. It's an upper level class that I wanted them to be able to get support for, like, just technical issues that they might have, more than even class issues. But one of the first things that I found to be my big issue, if you read this little description here, it says that it's a WebGIS tutor and instructional designer integrating analysis, design, accessibility, and GIS ethics. That sounds great and everything, but that last stuff isn't for a student. That's really more for me than it is for them. And I went down a rabbit hole a little bit too much when I was asking questions and didn't maintain focus on what the actual purpose of my chatbot was. So that then takes me to tip one of building a chatbot: be really specific. And it's when we get into building the bot, you're going to see how easy it is to go down a rabbit hole. And I can give you some tips on how not to go there. But if you can't describe the purpose of the bot in 2 sentences, really think about how you can do that. Because the better and tightly defined that your mission is, the better behavior you're going to get from your chatbot versus being loosey-goosey like I was with mine. So be really specific on what it is there. And now, one of the really great ways of helping you define the job of your bot is just even using ChatGPT to help you define what that purpose is, so you can actually be using it to be defining that. So going back to here then, I also then started creating other bots, and one I have called Spectra. Excuse me. And this was meant to support my remote sensing class this semester. It's an upper level class, and this one's a little bit more tightly defined. It's a conversational, supportive, and slightly snarky, because everything has to be snarky in my world, remote sensing course assistant. But you can see even the questions that are posed here are really specific to the class. Like, we do NDVI in the class, where we're looking at vegetation difference, and This helps them interpret what an image is telling them. This goes into the policies for the class, and then this goes in more into content. And the reason why this one maintained a little bit better focus than my previous one is because if I come and look at the um, details behind it, one of the things that you can do with these is you can upload the knowledge that you want to support that chatbot. So I exported everything from right now from week 1 to 5, and it's drawing its knowledge upon everything that's in these PDFs. So I have this one constrained to only answer things that are within the knowledge that I fed it, that it can't go outside that knowledge. That way, like the syllabus is there, so it knows when things are due. It knows what your policy on late work is. It knows all of those things very quickly, and it can answer the students' questions. So that's what I didn't do in my WebGIS one, which is why that one got a little bit more loosey-goosey. So those are just two quick examples of ones that have been previously created. And I would be remiss not to share my favorite, and it's a little bit off topic, but it's my favorite nonetheless. It's one that's called Terra Occulta. It's a geospatial tarot reader. So if you wanted to get your fortune and know what your life is going to be like in the geospatial world, let's do it. Like, so let's get a reading from the Terra Occulta and see what it tells us. So it starts with an invocation. So like it'll pick an opening ritual. So I have to tell it which one that I want. I want the cartographer's invocation. And yes, I spent time creating this, which is probably the sadder part about all of this. And it will give you that. And then it would also ask you then, okay, well, what spread do you want? And I'm just going to pick the drift line. And it will give you then your reading for that. And because I have this program to tell the user different things, I have it telling the psychological dimension of the cards, the ecological dimension, and the spatial reflection, because I wanted to incorporate geospatial with the types of things that we study. So it's just meant to be kind of a fun little thing. But again, this is being fed by some previous knowledge, is being fed by a document that I put together with the tarot cards in it. So that's actually just pulling from that. So you can do both fun and serious things with these to kind of enhance your courses. And this just happened to be one that students do just for fun, you know, when they're bored. So in terms of creating a chatbot, then the way that you do it is you come over here to where you see GPTs, and there's an option here that says Explore GPTs. And when I do go to explore GPTs, I get the list of all the GPTs that are available for use in here. And then up in the upper right-hand corner, I have an option that says Create. And from here, you're going to get a screen that looks like this, where you have a Create Configure pane over here, and over on this side is the preview. And as we start building, you're going to start seeing things being added over here. So there's two ways to set up your chatbot. And my first attempt at this, I started with the create option because ChatGPT will ask you questions to help you build your chatbot. It just keeps questioning you till it has everything that it wants. Alternatively, you could just go to configure and fill this out. But because I was a newbie, I started with this, and I'm going to do that with this. And so it's saying, you know, I want to help you build a GPT, and it's asking, well, what do you want to make? And in my some of my external work that I do outside of the college. Am teaching a Geo Academy right now, and I want to create a chat bot for this Geo Academy that I'm teaching. So I'm going to put in a prompt that says, help participants succeed in Geo Academy by answering questions about course structure, weekly tasks, tools, workflow, expectations, using only official Geo Academy materials, meaning that it's not going to be able to go pull from other sources. It has to be within the materials that I provided, that it can only use what's in there. And so I hit this and I wait for it to respond. And it can take us a second, because as you see it running here, it's updating the GPT, and at the maybe some things that do start showing up over here as it starts thinking. And I'll just wait for that. And then the first thing that you see is like those some prompts that it suggests based on what I just asked it to do. So like it's asking what are the weekly deliverables for Module 2, how does Geo Academy grading rubric, what's the required workflow for the tools lab, and so on. And then it starts asking you the next question so that you continue building your chatbot. It says, I suggest naming this GPT Geo Academy course guide, and that's a pretty boring name. So I'm going to call it something else. And I'm just, for lack of better ideas at this very moment, I'm going to call it GeoBuddy. And so it's going to do its thing here. And then it begins automatically creating a profile picture based off of the name that you gave it. So it gives you something like this, and you can tell it if you like it, hate it, or want to change it. And most of the time, it gives you a little bit more than that. Like it'll ask you, well, do you want it to be more minimal? Do you want it to be less cartoonish? And I'm going to just say, make more minimalistic, if I can spell that right. And then it will rerun that and create that profile picture. And feel free to pop in with questions at any time too, by the way. That's completely fine. Or if I go too fast. So now we have a profile picture, and I'm just going to say like it, and so that we move on to the next step. And this is where I should be filling in jokes. I'm sorry, my jokes are stale right now. Okay, so great. To make this guide truly effective, what outcome matters most for participants? Clarity on assignments, staying on schedule, earning high grades, mastering tools workflow, or something else that you want emphasized above all? And I'm going to select clarity on requirements, and supporting new users. And it updates. And you probably have noticed that this area over here changes as it updates the prompts. So understood when participants ask broad questions like, what do I need to do this week? What should a GeoBuddy respond with a concise summary first, then break it down, or go directly to a detailed breakdown from the start? And I'm going to do a detailed breakdown from the start. And just because it's asked is here, it's only giving you two options. It doesn't mean you can't write in something else that you would prefer. I'm just picking what they're putting in just for the for time reasons. And now it goes through all of this. So next, if I go back to my configure now, I mentioned that you can work from both of these areas. And when we first started, the configure area was completely empty. Notice now, as we've been answering these questions, this stuff is getting filled in for us. So it now has a name. It now has a description associated with it. It has the instructions for it. And if we expand these out, notice that they're getting longer and longer. So like it's basically taking what we're telling it to do and internalizing it so that it runs the way that we wish it to run. And now these conversation starters here are what's showing up here, and you can change those to whatever you want. So like if you have like some frequently asked questions, this is a great place to put those so students can grab them right away and get their answer. Like my big question is, when's something due? And that's a great way of just having it right there for them. Now, the piece that I would get to next, if I was over here in Create, I would now start uploading my knowledge file. So I'm going to just do that knowledge file right here. And so I'm going to go to Upload Files and then go to my folder that I have everything in and select it all except the instructions there. And then I'm going to hit Open. And it's adding that knowledge base to my bot. So what I have here is each of these PDFs is the weekly content for the class. So that weekly content contains the actual content, the assignment, this discussion, basically everything that they have to do is in that PDF, and with all the instructions are in that PDF. And then I also have a document with frequently asked questions. We all have questions that we get frequently. And this is basically my list of things that I get asked frequently that I want to have in there. So I update that as part of this. And again, I can go back to create and I'm going to just tell it I uploaded knowledge files. And again, it begins to update. And this is where I think some of the prompts become a little bit more specific to what you are actually teaching. But again, if they're not the prompts that you want, you can change them to anything you wish. Okay, let's see. Janice, question. I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Yes, now we can.
Okay. I put in the chat, can you link to a specific discipline website anywhere in a chatbot if you want students to be going to a discipline specific resource to guide answers?
I don't I don't know, but I don't think so, because the reason I say that is because the reason I uploaded everything as a PDF is because when I use just regular ChatGPT and ask it to read a website, it can't read it. But if I export that everything on that website as a PDF, it can read it. And that's actually what all my PDFs that I have there are story maps that I have all my content in. I just PDF, and that's a website, and I just PDF the whole entire thing and upload it, and it pulls everything that's then linked in that into the knowledge. But that's something I can check on for you, Janice, because I'm not 100% sure.
Great, thanks. I was just curious.
Steve.
Yeah, Janice's question was prompting my question. Is that you can upload PDFs? Can you upload audio or visual videos?
Yes, you can upload. I know you can upload images. I haven't actually tried uploading videos yet, but yeah, I'm not sure, Steve. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's just yeah, an interesting thing to
Well,
yeah.
the one thing you could do that I know would work, and I know that this doesn't necessarily help with in terms of demonstration, but the transcript of videos could be uploaded
Right.
So that would be at least a way to get some part of the video in there.
Right. So maybe if I had a transcript, which we're going to have to go to on all of our videos, just upload the transcript of our videos from our lectures.
Right, right.
Okay. Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, you're welcome. Now it says, next, do you want to prioritize any certain documents over another, like a syllabus and so on? And I'm just going to say syllabus, because that's the holy grail. And so you basically keep answering these questions until it's you're done. And the thing is, you can stop at any time. You can pick it up at any time and add more at any time. So this is asking now, when GeoBuddy cites information, do you want it to name the document and section every time? And I do, because that helps them know exactly where in the content that information is found. So if they have to go back again, that they can do that. So I'm going to stop with this one after this is done running to kind of show you the next steps. But the one thing that I will say with building Chatbots, it's an iterative approach. I don't think you ever get it right the first time. There's a lot of testing that has to be done. There's you can add to it at any time. Like, for example, in my remote sensing one, I showed you how I have everything up to week 5 in there. I don't have anything beyond that. Every week I upload a new module, because I don't want them to see those modules ahead of time in any sort of way. And if I put it in the chatbot as knowledge, technically they could kind of sort of see what might be in there. And I don't want that. So I'm going to stop there and kind of show you the next step with this, which is to go to your configure, and you make sure everything here is as you want it. You can add up to 5 conversation starters here. You can add as many files as you want, and then you pick whichever model of ChatGPT that you want. And I'm just going to go with the default here, and then I can go back now and go to my GPTs, and I see the GeoBuddy there. And notice right now it's only shared with myself. No one else can see it. To change that, I click on, oops, my mouse got stuck there. I click on the, what's that publish button? Sorry about that. I lost that. There we go. And I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong that I'm not seeing the publish. But you publish it. There's a button somewhere, and I apologize that I'm not seeing it at the moment. But once you publish it, then when you go into this area here, you can share this just by clicking on the actual uh, uh, model. And it's this link here that you would share. So like if I put this link now into the chat, all of you can access this particular chatbot and use it. And I'll put in the remote sensing one because that's a little bit more appropriate for this. And you can kind of see what you have there. But you saw how easy that is to kind of set up. You basically just answer a series of questions, and each bot is different. Like for when I was setting up Spectra, for instance, that one went relatively quickly because it was very defined. The Terra Occulta took a few hours because it kept coming up with new prompts and questions to craft the bot. So it really highly depends on what you do and the constraints that you're putting on the bot. That really dictates how long it's going to take. the resource that I put in the chat, I kind of give you the step by step on, what to do with this. But the one thing I would do is test it a lot before you share it. And you can test it just simply by going to it and asking it a question. Like in my remote sensing class, when are assignments due? And see what it says to you. And if it's not going to give you the right answer, you know that something is amiss. And you can, keep testing various knowledge that that is in there to make sure that it's responding the way that you want. So that testing aggressively is really an important step. The other thing with using it is I wouldn't deploy it widely without testing it in a small section or in a small or just for one assignment. Like you don't want to go hog wild and deploy this across 5 classes when you're not really sure how well it's going to work. So, start small and start with a 1 class section, or for 1 week, try it to see what their thoughts are. Like for mine, like my remote sensing class has 10 students in it. And to me, that's an ideal place to start because it's a small group. And they're they're upper level students that they're into this kind of thing. So I know that they're a perfect test ground to see what the issues are in that. And then the other thing is to test or set the expectations with your students, what the bot can and cannot do, so that they know what the expectations are with that, and like when to email you if they're having any kind of issues. So that is the very quick, short version of how to create a chatbot in ChatGPT. But again, you saw how there's no coding involved, and I think that's a really important piece to this, is that the better you answer questions, the better the knowledge that you put in there, the better the result that you have. So if you were worried that bot creation was going to be this really technical thing, it's not. It's just a matter of what the inputs are into it is really what determines how good it's going to be. And then one last example that I'd like to share, and I'm going to just stop sharing my screen here, is one that's actually from the Earth Center. It's a National Science Foundation center that does environmental technicians support. They built a chatbot for job task analysis, which I think is a really great thing for educators like us, because that job task analysis, they built exactly what was shown here, but for something different. Like, let's say that you have to create a drone program and you want to know, well, what should be the program learning outcomes. You can build those program learning outcomes. Then you can then have it then build all the courses for you. You have basically that resource of SMEs at your disposal, because they're actually kind of already in there with the knowledge base that's in ChatGPT. So you can do a lot with these and build really aggressive models to do and output information that is useful to the work that you're doing. So I don't know if I have missed any questions in the chat. And Jennifer, I see you have a question about, for what my experience, you need a paid subscription to ChatGPT to create the bots. I know some things the capabilities have changed recently in some others that you don't necessarily need that, but for what I'm doing, I'm using ChatGPT, and that does require a paid account. I don't know about Gemini, Copilot, any of those, because I don't use them. And actually, Gemini is banned on the hack profile, so we cannot use Gemini as an AI.
And Sarah has a question actually.
Okay.
In the chat as well.
Well, Sarah, and thank you for that question. As I mentioned earlier, that like I have not really, I was not comfortable deploying my WebGIS one last semester in class because it was a nightmare, a mess, and it was not focused enough. I'm actually going to be deploying my remote sensing one next week for the first time, and I'm only going to keep it use it for 2 weeks to get their feedback, because I think that's ready. But I haven't actually deployed it yet because I just wanted to make sure that I had the as much knowledge in it before I got there. Christina.
Yeah, so this question was answered that it is a paid version. How
Yes.
how transparent is the company with retention policy of materials that the bot is using? So can you at some point terminate the bot and like what's the time period?
So you've determined that. So let me
Oh,
go back to sharing my screen here. Once I find it. Sorry, my controls. Sorry for a second, my Zoom controls went wacky. There we are. There we are. Okay. So when I share my screen, I'm going to show you how you can um, remove the permissions on the bot. So you would go into your list of GPTs over here on the right. So let's say that I want to stop sharing this one. I can do that in a couple of different ways. I'm going to do it by going here. Right now, it's shared with anyone. I can just edit the share settings so nobody can see it. Alternatively, I can just even go and delete it by going to delete GPT. So you can either hide it or delete it so that it's not active anymore. It's just kind of like a Google Drive document. If you want to share it with others, you give them the link. If you want to pull the sharing, you stop sharing the link. Does
thank
that
you.
answer?
Yeah, it did, and that kind of leads me to another question, which was asked in a different way. So, from a statistics standpoint, is there a report that you can access to see the usage and what questions were asked, and like what the
Right.
trend is, by the
That I
users?
don't believe
Okay,
so, but that's actually something I have not looked into. So that is something I can research to get an answer about. But that would be amazing if the
yeah,
analytics were available for it, because you then at least it helps determine usefulness,
yeah,
whether it's even worth doing. All sorts of, and like the questions, like you know where the holes in your curriculum are if you're getting the same question every time. And that's actually something I want to bring up. Like, as when I was building another one that I actually ended up deleting, I saw so many holes in my curriculum because it wasn't able to answer the questions. Like the things that I thought were obvious weren't so obvious. So it helps you even kind of determine like how good your content is if they can't find the answer within the content and how clear it is.
thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? So has anybody built any chatbots or played around with this? I bet Robert has.
Not, not the way you've done it, though. I mean, I've had conversations that I do that I've developed a whole graduate student that I use to assist me with, oh, I'm doing this, and here's my slides I made up. Check them over. Make sure I didn't type anything stupid because it takes me forever to proofread them, and I still miss stuff. So it's like I've used that kind of thing, but it's kind of I'm gonna have to try putting it into this because I've never done it with the actual GPTs. Mine's just like I have separate
Right,
conversations that I have with various, one who helps me with slides, one who goes over assignments or,
right,
other different things. So,
right. Well, and that's a really
so
good point though too,
yeah,
Robert. Like, I mean, you could be building these for your internal use for checking your
yeah.
stuff, and I think that's a great idea because like I have like there's certain words I spell wrong all the time that drives me nuts that I miss,
Hmm.
and like just
Oh, yeah.
even proofing things or fixing my passive aggressive like way of writing. It can make it more active,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
so like yeah, I mean you can do a lot just with making your materials better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Even just typos that I make, or if I just simply say something wrong, I type the wrong thing into my
right,
slides and it says, hey, you know
right.
what? You said this wrong, but that's not how this works in physics or astronomy. So it's kind of nice to get those caught before the students find them.
Sarah, you did an instructional design bot in Gemini. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I'm sorry I can't have my video on right now, but I was working on some kind of reverse engineering some learning outcomes. And I have, I think, a way that many of us probably do of saying, hey, I want to be able to teach this particular concept. And in order to do that, I want to use this particular activity or something like that. And that's not always the best way to go about it, sort of working from the bottom up. And so I wanted something to kind of encourage me to think a little bit more from the top down, right? Like, what's the thing that I'm trying to reach? And then from there, what's the best way for me to get there? So I gave it a learning outcome. And I said, look, this is what I'm trying to do. Here's the textbook that I'm reading. Here are some particular activities that I already really like. What else should I be thinking about that would help me to measure success in meeting this outcome in different ways that I'm not already thinking about?
Great, great. How easy was it to build in Gemini?
It was very easy. I mean, I think you just have to ask the right questions,
Right.
Um, and there's trial and error. So, I mean, you're not going to break anything.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I started over with some of these a number of times because I just my prompts were bad, and I just instead of trying to fix it after a while, it was just easier to start over and do it again. Because it just would like transform it in a way that I couldn't get it back from. Do you ever use GPT to transition on-ground activities to online to meet the same learning objectives?
So we had a discussion about this, if I can just jump in sociology, actually, just a couple of weeks ago in our discipline meeting. We were talking about something that we do with students where we try to get them to apply a particular theoretical perspective. And in class, we might pair students up and say, okay, you're going to take on the perspective of, this theorist, and you're going to take on the perspective of this other theorist, but you're going to look at the same issue, but through these different lenses. And one of the things that we actually practiced as a discipline was how can we get online students to kind of like have a conversation with Max Weber or with Karl Marx or whomever about a particular sort of present day issue that maybe wasn't around when the theorists were writing, but we can use their theoretical perspectives to analyze this particular issue. So it was an interesting exercise.
That's very cool. Yeah, I would love to see that exercise and even do that exercise. That seems very neat. Anybody else have anything to share or ask?
There is a question in the chat
Do
on.
you have Gemini Pro? Actually, Gemini Pro, from my understanding and my experience, or that's for Sarah. Yeah, on our hack profiles, we can't get into Gemini. It is blocked, which is really discouraging. So that's why I started going with ChatGPT. I mean, I could use Gemini Pro on a non-hack profile, but if I'm doing work for hack, I should be able to work with the hack profile. So, but there's those of us who use both or one or the other.
Did,
Steve.
did you find it making errors often?
I found it reading into certain things a little bit too much and giving some things more weight than I wanted it to have. I didn't really see errors. I think I just found I felt that it just overblew certain concepts when they didn't really have to. But I didn't see anything that it has given as wrong unless I didn't feed it the knowledge. Like for instance, I forgot to feed it my syllabus the one time. So I asked when something's due, it gave me a really bad answer. So, and you can tell it not to guess. You can tell it if you don't fabricate answers, you can actually put that in there so it doesn't do things like that. But yeah, you can be really specific on that. Okay, so if anybody would like to, get into this a little bit more, I'm a newbie at this, as you can see. I'm just excited to see the potential of this. So if anybody wants to chat and on their experience, if they after they start trying this, please contact me. I would love to hear your experience with it and what your successes and challenges were. And that might be a great follow-up session in a few months down the road to see what we're all doing and what we have learned from all of this. So thank you all for coming. I appreciate your time and thank you for staying a little longer. I appreciate that. I'm long-winded. You've met me. So thank you all for coming. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Now I have to stop recording.
Yes, same on my end as well.
Oh, there we are.